update 37,544. Oscar Jones, Demons and Disaster, a fantasy novel. He's at 37,218. He wrote about 10,000 words yesterday, believe it or not, and he's aching from that writing marathon. Sometimes it's hard to keep from burning out when you write that much all at once, but he's well along and blasting on through. He's on a 20-day pace now and doing great, so good job, Oscar. I can't believe he wrote that much. Not an update here, but we're kind of in a strange place. Bill posted my worst nightmare as a writer. He was actually getting ready to back up stuff on his computer and came in, and there was some kind of glitch or problem, and he lost the last 25,000 words of the novel he was writing. So he was in kind of a rough mood yesterday. He's kind of looking for some computer folks to go through his stuff and see if maybe he can pull it back. He can always rewrite it, of course, which is maybe what he has to do. But losing that much of a story and having to write it again is really nightmare fuel for me. That's kind of why I back up my stuff a couple different ways. And I'm still nervous something might happen. That drives me crazy. Let me show you what I do to back up my stuff. All right, those of you familiar with Trello, I've done work on that before. Yeah, Trello's a sort of an organization system for companies and things like that. You have lists and boards and all that. I divide my lists for this archive by letter, so I got A through Z, and then I put my stories on here. Now, you see some of these have thumbnails on there, and that's because when I write live on stream, I will create thumbnails for the stories, and we'll put those, when I do the videos on YouTube and stuff, so I keep those on this board too. So let's just look at, I'm seeing what's in view because I don't have this sized correctly. How much does it cost? Trello costs nothing. So for free, you get a certain amount of storage. I'm not sure the number of megabytes or whatever that you can store, but it's enough for most stories and most of the artwork. Now, I did a paid version, which I don't remember what it was, how many dollars a month or how many dollars a year. I paid for a year, so I don't remember the totals, but I paid for more, so I had a larger area of storage, and that allowed me to put in some larger files, including bigger artwork and some of the larger publication files. This was a pain in the butt to get set up because I had so many stories. None of them were organized. I had to go through pieces of yellowing notebook paper. I had to go through files on old computers. I had to pull some up from emails. I had to go through Amazon to try to remind myself of everything I'd written. But I'd run into the problem that I'd written so many stories that I couldn't keep track of them all. I couldn't remember where I said it. Spell it for me, please. It's Trello. So I'll put that into the chat there. So Trello, Trello.com. And I do a few different things in here. I'll pull it over to some of my other stuff too. But you can see all the stories here. And this is actually a short story collection I'm putting together of not all the stories, of some of the better stories that I've written on stream. It's going to include links to the videos, so people who are reading the ebook or the print version will be able to see the videos too. I need to do this. It is such a crazy amount of time finding a story. Is there an affiliate link you have? So if I do get, you get something. Not really. And again, to start with, just do the free version and get it set up. And then if you decide you need bigger file space, you can do that. There were a couple pieces of artwork that were too big for the free version. I was able to, with the free version, I was still able to put on like the PDFs of entire novels. I was able to put in the Mobi files of a couple things. There's just stuff like that. A few of them got big enough to where there wasn't quite enough space to put all that stuff on there. So I went for the paid version. I also use this with several companies, so there's more than one person that I write for freelance that uses Trello, so it was just to my advantage to have it. But start with the free version because you don't actually need, well, okay, I will give a caveat. With the free version, you only get 10 boards, but you can put as much stuff on a board as you want. So unless you unless you have multiple different things you want on different boards, you can probably create everything you want on the free version. You can kind of learn that as you go, and you can change it too. So if you have a board you don't need anymore, you can clear it off and make it into something different. Just as an example, I'll go ahead and update. So this is Ruthless, Rabid, Raging, Ravenous, Rampaging, so forth, the actual cover. And so I have all the cover images and like the inside stuff and all that saved here. So on here I have described what it is. I have NaNoWriMo November 2021, Twitch, YouTube, and that's where all that stuff is going. I have all the attachments here so I can see the back covers and the clean version of the covers I've created and all that. But biggest thing is I got the story there. So normally I would do this off screen, but I'll do the attachment. I'll look to my computer. I'm going to do Ruthless. Okay, I'm in the wrong section. I'm looking at the download. So let me get to my documents file. So I type in Ruthless, and there it is. I click it, click open, and then it saves. So now I have it saved on my computer. I have it saved here. Now, like I have the added yesterday, I can go and delete this one. Now the disadvantage is if you delete something, it's gone. So you got to be careful not to accidentally delete something maybe you don't have anywhere anymore. Of course, this is just for like ultimate backup. Now, at the same time, you can do this, not the same thing because you can't see everything at once, but you can back something up on like a drive or in your email or 100 other ways. This is just the way I've organized, but again, it took me months to get this set up, and then I have to be committed to do it. So I write 2 or 3 stories a week with Trello and everything. I'm not Trello, but with Twitch and everything else. And so I have to keep track of those on there. So just as an example, let me pull up another story here. So I've backed up the novel that I'm writing right now. All right, so you can see there's the covers of books that I have. All right, let's just look at, you can see it goes all the way down. So you got stories going on forever. I got way too many. I have hundreds of stories that I've written over my career here. So let's just look at the Happy Pumpkin. This has not actually been published anywhere. I believe I'm putting it up on Patreon if it hasn't popped up already. It may be, I'm already scheduling stuff for next year's Patreon. All right, so we click on Happy Pumpkin, and the Happy Pumpkin is 3,550 words. I put that in the title so I know what it is. A carnivorous pumpkin sets a trap on Halloween so it might feast. I've also included the keywords so I can search by keyword too: horror, Halloween, humor, gore, splatter. And so I can, if I go up to the top, I can search for this. So let's say I'm looking for Halloween stories. Actually, I don't want to do that because I use the word Halloween for some of the stuff I put on Patreon. So let's say I'm looking for, we'll say gore. So jump to gore. All right, so there's Happy Pumpkin. Actually, am I on screen here? Yeah, there's Happy Pumpkin. I got a story called Imposter, Friendly Rivalry, Distressed. All of those are described as gore. So if I click on this, the image for Happy Pumpkin, it pulls up the same thing. So I can search by those keywords. I wrote that on Twitch on September 21st, 2021. It was on YouTube. I edited it on Twitch. I read it on Twitch. And then Patreon story, 31 Horrors for Halloween. Stories for Halloween. It's going to appear on October 31st, 2022. So that's already scheduled on my Patreon. That's how far ahead and organized I am, at least on this stuff. And then you can see the other images I have here. So these are the thumbnails that I used for the various times that I wrote it, edited it, and then read it on Patreon. And these are the ones that appear on YouTube. So let's look at Curse of the Ratman. That was released recently with Godless. All right, so I got the Curse of the Ratman cover. You can go to my About page and click on that if you'd like to buy that for just a few cents. It's not even $1. It's an exclusive ebook with Godless. It's 34,000 words, so that's a novella. Yeah, so I got it. It was submitted and rejected somewhere, and then I put part of it up on Patreon, and now it's published. I need to update this, so this will be a good time to do that. So let's say it was published on Godless, exclusive, and that was in October. I don't remember the exact date. It was early October, so 10/21. All right. So I saved that, and now my history of the story is updated. I had the cover. There was an image that Drew over at Godless made. I saved that as well. This is the Kobe file. I'm sorry, the Moby file. This is the ebook, EPUB file. I have the PDF. I have the cover with no text. The cover is a JPEG. I have all the ads that I put in the back of that book. I have the edited document from the last Word file of it that I made. The back covers. There we go. So that's all that stuff is saved. Now again, I do the paid version, so I get slightly higher file downloads, but there's no limit to the number of downloads. It's just the free version has a certain file size you're allowed to do, and the paid version has a bigger file size. But for most artwork, for most for all Word files essentially, for most publishing files, the free version is big enough to get most of that stuff on there. I wanted everything. So all the artwork and files that were too big, I went ahead and paid to have an archive there. So that's where I keep. This is my emergency backup. Now, of course, if like something terrible happens to this company and some of this stuff goes away before I have a chance to re-download it, I may be in trouble. At this moment, the old computer still exists, so I could pull those files again that I don't have on this new one. So, you know, chances are I'm okay. But again, there's nothing that's perfect. Like nothing could ever go wrong on the internet or with this company or anything else. But this is what I use as an archive, and it's really convenient for me to find something. So let's say a publisher asks me to do crime fiction. So I'll say crime fiction. Let me just put in crime. We'll make it. So I have The Hidden Truth. I know a lot of this isn't perfectly on screen. I have The Hidden Truth that I co-wrote with Armand Rosamilia. I have Men Who Only Seek the Sun at Night is a 2,400 word story. So if they want something smaller than that or bigger than that, I have Unspoken Prayer Request, which is less than 2,000. Someone is Wrong on the Internet is another crime story. Register 6 is 33,300. The Murders Have Started Again was one. Room 138 I included under crime fiction, even though it's time travel story. It's got mystery, it's thriller, but there is some crime elements in it as well. The 10-Year Drunk is 7,800 words, and that was published a long time ago. Show more cards, please. So then I can go down through all of these stories. Now, the older they get... Oh, Killer on Stonewall Jackson Drive is a good story. I should get that somewhere. I guess all that to say, this is where I back up. So I one of my worst nightmares is losing a story or losing something I'm working on. So even when I have a story in progress, well, okay, let's do Who Gets What. That's a story I haven't actually written yet, but I'm going to write it on Tuesday. All right, so Who Gets What? There we are. So right now, the only thing on Who Gets What is the thumbnails. I got 4 thumbnails for that one because I found some pictures I like. I don't have a word count yet because it's not finished. I don't have its publishing history because it's not finished yet. And so I would put that stuff in, and I would save the unfinished document in here so that if anything happened on my computer, I'm not starting over. One story that benefited greatly from being rejected, and then I worked on it some more, was one called Short Straw. I almost didn't remember the title. So let's look this up. Short Straw, there we are. It's 6,900 words. And a boy gets singled out to wake up once a year to take care of his family's suspended animation chamber. Science fiction, apocalypse, monster, classic. All right. And when I say classic, I meant that, you know, it takes after classic sci-fi. It kind of imitates that. I had a person who rejected it sent me some feedback and said that 2 characters that didn't actually confront each other at the end needed to do that. But he mentioned that not having those 2 characters confront at the end weakened the story, and that and I didn't realize it at the time, but he said this harkens back to classic sci-fi, and so if you lean into that, you're going to improve what makes the story great. And so he didn't want the story, but he went on with that. That feedback actually made me rewrite the story into something much, much better. And so I submitted it to Spencer Hill Press, Doorways to Extra Time Anthology, got it rejected. Submitted to Asimov and rejected. Submitted tons of things to Asimov and got them rejected. Submitted to ARC and got it rejected. Those two are just huge markets that reject everything. Bourbon Pen was a press that's actually near me, and it was in issue 11 in 2016. So that got accepted. And then it was in My Favorite Story, Project Entertainment Network anthology in 2017. So that was a story that made significant changes before it ever got accepted. I could invite other people to this board or whatever. I don't want to because it's really sensitive stuff. I don't want anyone to accidentally delete. My wife is on it, so if anything happens to me, you know, the stories are there if she wants to resell some stuff. But it's primarily used for teams to work together on things, so you can keep track of boards. I'm using it here as an archive. Let me see if I can figure out how many stories I have. So this is everything I've written so far in my life. Thank you for the follow, Stark. I appreciate it. Filter. Yeah, here we go. No due dates. That's what so I don't have any due dates on this. So I have 569 stories. That's how many stories I have. So that includes all my novels and everything else. Every short story, every novel. I've written 569 total stories in my lifetime. That's a lot. It's a lot of words that I've done, and of course, not all of them are good. But if you do enough, eventually you got some good ones too.